Yes, I don't know what probably my probably my thing is messed up because of this phone call. But Yahuwah has chosen Israel to be his peculiar people. Yahuwah has chosen Israel of all the people that are upon the face of the earth to be his people. And I'm just going to read this. I don't know what may have happened to my video because of the because of the call, but I can only hope that something was recorded. Deuteronomy 33. Deuteronomy 33. Yes. Yah is here speaking to Israel. He's speaking to Israel, letting Israel know how important we are to him. He says here, there is no one like the father of, yes, there is no one like the father of Yahshua, who rides on the heaven to help you, and on the clouds of his majesty. His everlasting Father is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He will thrust down your enemy from in front of you, and will say, destroy. Then Israel will live in safety alone. Jacob's spring is secure in the land of grain and new wine, where the heavens drop dew. Blessed are you, O Israel. Who is like you, a people saved by Yahuwah? He is your shield of help and your majestic sword. Your enemies will cringe in front of you, and you will trample them down, and you will trample down their high places. Yes, that is what Yahuwah says about us, his children. There is none like you, Israel. You are Yah's majestic shield. Blessed are you. Who is like you, a people saved by Yahuwah? He is your shield of help and your majestic sword. Your enemies will cringe in front of you, and you will trample down their walls. Yes, when Yah deliver Israel, take them through the Red Sea, kept them in the wilderness for 40 years, preserved their lives. It says their clothes did not get old, neither their shoes mashed off their feet. Yah went as far as to provide manna from heaven to feed Israel and to let Israel know that he is their Elohim. He is their everlasting Father. and their enemies were not able to stand before them. Today, Israel are still under oppression, and Israel have been under oppression for 400 years by our European slave masters. But Yahuwah promised that he will put an end to our suffering and that he will redeem us, and we will again be able to throw down the high places of those who oppress us. Seeing that my first video, I'm not sure what has happened to it. I'm just going to look at Isaiah 11, where Yahuwah promised to redeem Israel and to bring us back from Egypt a second time. I'm going to read a few verses because I'm not sure, yes, there's wonderful things that await us. Yes, wonderful things, great things await us. All we need to do is to obey Yah. We make it hard to obey, because we were taught that the law is done away with and we are not under the law. And we have been groomed to disobey the laws of Yahuwah. But as Yahuwah awake us, let us wake up. Let us wake up and let us begin to do live righteously. All right, I'm going to just start read from verse 4. But with righteousness he will judge the poor, and prove with equity the meek, humble of the earth. He will smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips will he slay the wicked. All these wicked that are oppressing us and lying on us, yes, setting plot for us, Yahuwah will slay them with the breath of his mouth. Righteousness will be the belt of his waist, and faithfulness the belt of his loins. It says the wolf also will dwell with the lamb. Yes. And the leopard will lay down with the young goat, the calf, and the young lions, and the fatlings together, and a little child shall lead them. The cows and the bears will graze, their young ones will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw with the ox. The nursing child will play by the hole of the Alps, and the weaned child will put his hand in the mouth of the viper's den. So no one will hurt us there. They will not hurt nor destroy in my holy mountain. For the earth will be full with the knowledge of Yahuwah, as the water cover the sea. In that day there will be the root of Yeshi, who will stand as an insignia, sign, banner, signal for the people. To it will the Gentiles seek, and his rest will be glorious. Listen to this, and I want us to hear this. It will come to pass in that days that Yahuwah will set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which will be left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Patmos, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the island of the sea, probably from Jamaica, where I am from. He will set an signal, a sign for the nations, and will gather the outcasts of Israel together and the disperse of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Yes, Yahuwah promised to gather us from the four corners of the earth. Yes, as I look around, I saw that the earth is being destroyed before our eyes. I saw a flame on a video this evening, and it is unbelievable, terrifying. It's past all imagination. The whole land is consumed by this volcano, and the fire, the hills and everywhere was just like melting away. And it brought to my memory a text that is written where the earth will be on fire and will melt with fervent heat. And I'm going to read that as I am going to close. It says, "For behold, the day comes that shall burn like an oven, and all the proud, yes, and all they who do wickedly will be stumbled. The day that comes will leave neither root nor branch." What I saw on that video this evening, there was no root left. I didn't even see ash. It was red fire. And so Yah is destroying this world before our eyes. And so it is time to make it right with our Elohim. But for you who reverence my name, the light of righteousness will arise with healing in its wings, and you shall go out leaping like calves from the stall, and you will tread down the wicked. You will tread down the wicked, for they will be ash under the sole of your feet. The day that I will do this, says Yahuwah of hosts, you remember the law of Moses, my servant, which I command you through him in Horeb, for all Israel with the statutes and judgment. Behold, I will send Elijah, the law and the prophet, with the strength of Yahuwah, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahuwah. It will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, before I come and strike the earth with a curse, Churim, utterly destroy in the day of Yahuwah. Yes. So, this world will be on fire. It is on fire already. Fire have been burning. A lot of fire have taken place in California. And all over there's fire. There is storms, floods. People's positions are just washing away before their eyes. But we thank Yah that we are in his hands and that he promised to redeem us. He promised that we don't need to be afraid. He promised that we will dwell, that Jacob will dwell in safety. So we do not need to be afraid. So, in closing, this is YAH'S Sabbath of the third quarter of the moon. And it is the third Sabbath that falls on Sunday on Rome's Gregorian calendar. We only have one more Sabbath to go before we have a new month. Yes? So we had just completed the feast of the Passover and the feast of unleavened bread, and we spoke about the mighty deliverance of the children of Israel out of Egypt's bondage. And Yahuwah has promised that he will deliver us the second time again from the four corners of the earth. It is clear that we have been deceived, but Yahuwah is now restoring his feast, restoring his name, restoring his Sabbaths, and as it is clearly stated to us that it was because of Israel's rebellion why Yahuwah had caused his feast days to be forgotten in Zion. And if I may, I would just like to read Lamentation 2 for us, because nothing that take place on the face of this earth happened by chance. Yahuwah has declared that it would take place, and of course it has happened just like Yahuwah said it would. And just for us to not to be discouraged that all this time we were keeping Saturday as the Sabbath, not knowing that we were being lied to. But I want to believe that Yah has caused us to know this now on time. Now is the time for us to know that. I'm going to read verses 3. It says, in fierce anger, he has cut down every horn, strength and pride of Israel. He has withdrawn his right hand at the approach of the enemy. He has burnt against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devour on every side. He bent the bow like an enemy. His right hand was prepared like an adversary. He had slain all who were pleasing in the eyes of the tabernacle of the daughters of Zion. He has poured out his fury. All right, Yahuwah became an enemy. He swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all the palaces. He has destroyed the fortresses and increased mourning and lamentation in the daughters of Judah. Yes, he had laid waste the tabernacles as if it were a garden. He has destroyed the palace, the place of the congregation. Yahuwah has caused, this is what we need to look at. Yahuwah has caused the appointed feast and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion. In the indignation of his anger, he has despised kings and priests. Yahuwah has rejected his altar He has abhorred his sanctuary. He gave over to the enemy the walls of his palaces. They have made a noise in the house of Yahuwah, as it were an appointed feast. So, Yahuwah has caused the Sabbaths to be forgotten because of Israel's rebellion and transgressions. I think World's Last Chance says, when Yah's people start to profane his holy things, Yahuwah takes it away for preservation and to keep and to preserve his Sabbath, because he doesn't want corrupt people messing with his holy vessels. So it was Yahuwah who has caused his Sabbaths and his feast days to be forgotten in Zion. But now that Yahuwah is restoring his people, he's also restoring his Sabbath, which he says will be a sign between him and his people throughout all generations. And since I may have 2 videos, I'm just going to read what Yahuwah said would happen if his Sabbath is kept holy. Yes, I'm going to read this. He says, this is what Yahuwah says. Be careful not to carry burdens upon the Sabbath, nor to bring through the gates of Jerusalem. Do not carry a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, nor do any work, but instead keep the Sabbath day holy, as I commanded you, your fathers. But they did not obey, nor incline their ears, but made their necks stiff, become stubborn, so they might not listen, nor receive instruction. And it will come to pass, if you diligently listen to me, says Yahuwah, and bring no burden through the gates of the city on the Sabbath, but keep the Sabbath day holy by not doing any work on it. It says, then the king sitting on the throne of David with their officials will enter the gates of the city, riding in chariots and on horses. They and their officials will accompany by the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the city will remain forever. Imagine Jerusalem remaining forever if the Sabbath is kept holy. And they will come from the cities of Judah and from the places around Jerusalem, from the land of Benjamin, and from the western foothills, from the hill country, from the south, with burnt offerings and sacrifice, grain offerings, and incense, and bringing sacrifice of praise to the house of Yahuwah. All right, now listen to verse 27. But if you will not obey me by keeping the Sabbath holy, by not carrying any burden, load, as you come through the gate of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then he says, Yahuwah said, I will kindle a fire in its gate, and it will devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it will not be quenched. So this is Yahuwah's word. And we can see that Yahuwah regards his Sabbath Yes, a blessing, a special blessing is placed on everyone who keep Yahuwah's Sabbath. Yahuwah's Sabbath is a sign between him and his people throughout all generations. Let us keep Yahuwah's Sabbath holy, and let us keep all his 7 feast days. This is the Sabbath of the 3rd quarter of the moon of the first biblical month, ABIB, NISAN, 22nd, 6008. To us a sign shall be throughout all eternity. Yes, it is definitely a blessing and a delight and a joy to obey Yah and to keep his commandments. It says, blessed are they that keep his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. And you don't want to be in the second group. No, you don't. So let us keep Yah's commandment. This is his Sabbaths. This is his Sabbath, the Sabbath that followed the 7-day feast of unleavened bread. And what a great week it has been, remembering the goodness of Yahuwah to his children, to the children of Israel, as he take them through the Red Sea and through the wilderness with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Shabbat Shalom. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you will be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of Yahuwah has spoken it. And let us remember that Yah's Sabbath and all his feast days are determined by the new moon. It is the new moon where the count for Yah's Sabbath begins. It is by the new moon that all the other feasts, the count for all the other feasts begins. So let us keep Yah's Sabbath holy. Yes, Constantine fixed Sabbath is a violation of Yah's 4th commandment. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great Sabbath. And let us look forward to the time when we will enter the city where there won't be any night. It is like Beulah land. We are waiting for Beulah land. Sweet Beulah land. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.